good. Definitely a different driving experience. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2021 GMC Yukon Denali with the Duramax engine. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to National GMC here in American Fork for giving me some time with this Yukon. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the Yukon, we have a 3-liter inline 6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 277 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Yukon Denali. So first off, we've got GM signature hood. We've got the bulges on either side, and then you kind of have like the divot to the bulge there in the middle portion. And then coming down below, we do have full LED lights with the C-shaped LEDs that go around them. And then coming down here, we've got the fog lights as well. And then notice how they did the work here to kind of mimic the lights that are just up above, which looks really cool. Parking sensors all along the front end, and then you've got the massive GMC grille right here with a little camera right there below the logo. And then you can see a little chrome here at the bottom just to kind of tie things off. But other than that, that is the front end on the Yukon. Coming around the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 22-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. As for the design on the wheels, they've gone for like a gigantic chrome type design on it with a ton of spokes, which looks pretty interesting. And then notice you got the little air dam thing right there on the front. Definitely a unique little touch. Got the little Denali badge right there with the chrome here on the side to kind of tie things in. And then you do get a Duramax badge there on the side of the Yukon. But other than that, here is your full side view on this Duramax Yukon. Pop into the back of the Yukon. So first off, I really like this little touch right here. These look very nice. And then popping into this little area, we do get some extra storage space just down under the little floorboard thing. But you guys can see this is the shorter version of the Yukon. It's not the XL, so you don't get as much storage space here on the back. And then as for the sides here, this just like lowers down the seats and everything. So that's for the second row, and this is for the third row. So you can press the little button right there, and then it'll lower down the seat for you. And then you can press the button again and it'll raise the seat right back up, which is another nice little touch. But that is everything for the back. Go over the rest of the rear of the Yukon Denali. So first off, you guys can see back here in this little area, we've got kind of like the gigantic C-shaped LED lights, and then you've got the Yukon badge right here with the Denali badge on the other side. Now for the towing setup, the payload's 1,419 pounds, and then the towing capacity is about 7,800 pounds for the Denali. But other than that, that's everything for the rear end. Let's go over the back door panel here in the Yukon. So first off, we've got all the wood trim here at the top, and then you've got the stitching that goes all the way around, and then soft touch here. I think the stitching design here is pretty interesting. And then you got a little window control here with the door lock and unlock, and this does come with the Bose sound system. Got the Denali plaque right there. All of your adjustments are nicely labeled on the seats. And then if you pop up the headrest, here are the seats in the rear. So you've got the nice stitching and the perforations all throughout on the seat itself. But let's actually pop in. So stepping in, it's pretty easy to get in here. Now in the second row, I'm 5'11", I've got a good amount of headroom. Legroom is a little bit more on the squished side right here, but this seat is kind of like pushed back because it's got the memory seat function on it. And then we do have a couple of cup holders here. We've got the climate controls for the rear, and then you do have heated rear seats, which is another nice little control. And then you've got a little power outlet down below. Now as you can see, this Yukon does have, well, the screens. So to turn on the screens, you just have to double tap them, or you can turn them on from the front. But yeah, if you double tap them, you guys can see all the stuff that you can control right here. So yes, you can watch stuff on it, you can listen to music, and you can even go into the navigation, which is pretty interesting. And then when you are done with the screen, all you have to do is just press the little power button. But again, you just have to double tap it. Pretty easy to use. But now you got to pop into the back. So it's pretty easy. It's like a little pass through right here to get into the back. And now that we're all the way here into the back, it's actually pretty good back here. Headroom is fine. Legroom, my legs are like pushed up, but it's not completely uncomfortable. And then there is a little USB back here, some cup holders, and then this is for the seat to kind of move that out of the way. But yeah, I mean, pretty good back here. Let's head to the front. coming here to the front, notice that you've got this really nice stitching all around with some wood trim just down below. And then again, the kind of like interesting stitching design in that little area right there. You got your door lock and unlock, all of your window controls, and then you do have the memory seat functions right there, and then the mirror adjustments as well. And then you got a speaker for the Bose sound system. We got the Denali plaque right there. And then here are the seats at the front, and again it says Denali on it. You've got the perforations all throughout, and then you guys can see you've got kind of more stitching right here in that little area. And then we do have the adjustments here on the side of the seat. And then as you can see, we've got the pedal layout just down below. And then we've got a bunch of controls here in this little area. So you've got your little parking brake control right here. This is for the lane departure assistance. This is the stability control. And then that's the hill descent control, parking sensors, your auto stop start. This is for the outlets to turn them on or off. That's for like your heads up display. And then we've got our driveline select just down below. So you've got your auto, your 2-wheel high, your 4-wheel high, your 4-wheel low. And then you've got our little drive modes, which we'll go over in a little bit. And then coming over here, we do have our light controls. Lots of stuff happening right here. The steering wheel is automatically adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. Here's the steering wheel in the Yukon Denali. We've got really nice leather all around the steering wheel, and then you've got darker stitching there in the center portion. It says Denali right there in the center. And then you have the voice commands right here with the phone controls, all the controls for the center stack. And then you got your heated steering wheel control over here with your collision assistance, and then cruise control. And then there are rocker panels in the back to control the radio stations. And then you've got the turn signal / windshield wiper stock all built into one. And that's the steering wheel. Now here is the center stack. We've got RPMs over on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you do have that little center screen right there where you can scroll through some menus. So first off, you've got the home page, got the information on the vehicle, your music, your navigation, your phones, and then settings itself. So pretty nice little setup, and I think it looks good as well. If you guys are familiar with the Chevy trucks and the GM trucks, then this will look very familiar to you. And the other thing here in the center stack is the drive mode. So you've got your normal, your sport, your off-road, and your tow haul. You basically just twist the dial and you can go through the different drive modes, and you can twist it either side, so you guys can go like all the way through linearly, or you can go back the other way. It's both linear, but you guys get what I'm saying. And then notice how it raises or lowers the vehicle with the suspension depending on the drive mode that you go into, which is another nice little touch. Now I've got an interesting little setup right over here, so you guys can see you've got a bunch of controls in this little area. So you push in for park, you pull up for reverse, you push in for neutral, you pull up for drive, then you got a low range as well. And that's the little gear selector thing for you. And then notice that they give you little finger holes for the ones that you're going to pull up, and there's nothing there for the ones you're going to push in. The infotainment system itself, response time is really solid, and it does come with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on it. It's a perfect size if you ask me. Now for the camera aspect of it, if we pop it into reverse, notice that you've got a bunch of different views out with the camera system. I mean, you literally can see everything on the Yukon. So like, again, from a camera perspective, I say this with all of GM's products, but like, I really mean it. You're never going to have an issue because you can pretty much see everything around the, well, you literally can see everything around the vehicle. Now, just down below here, we've got our controls for the radio, and then down below that, we've got our climate controls. So remember, you have a climate for the rear, which you can control the rear climate, and then you do have a dual zone here for the front. You got heated and cooled seats, and on the heated seats, you can do like the whole seat or just part of the seat, which is another nice little touch. And then we've got this extra storage space, so you slide this, and this will reveal the wireless phone charger, and then also you've got a 12 volts and then some USBs, and then you push it and then it'll cover up again. Really nice wood trim, couple cup holders, and you got more wood trim that kind of covers everything up with that whole area. But that's that whole section. We've got the center console here. We've got really cool stitching design here, and then stitching here on the side, and then opening it up, you guys can see storage space in there is pretty decent with the center console itself. You guys might be wondering what's underneath this paper, and well, there's just the kind of covering. But if you actually lift up this little covering, there's nothing under there. Like, I know it looks like it should go deeper, guys, but that's the center console. Anyways, coming over here, we've got nice soft touch here, and then you got more stitching, and then you got wood trim, and then soft touch and stitching over the whole dash. Regular little glove box here in the Yukon, and that's all for that. Now up top here, we do have quite a few controls. So you've got the universal garage door opener. This does have a panoramic sunroof. Now it doesn't go over the whole roof of the SUV because it's such a long SUV, but it does at least the first and second rows. And then these are just to lower down the seats themselves, and then the controls for the little sunroof on either side here at the top. And then as for the mirror, yes, it does have the cool camera mirror. So you just flip that little thing right there, and it'll pop the camera right on. Now that we're done going over the interior of this GMC Yukon with the Duramax engine, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this particular Yukon with all the options it has, stickers for about $82,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take this Yukon out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility in the Yukon before we set off. So first off, visibility of the hood, it's really good, and hopefully you guys can see the heads-up display here with the camera. If you can't, it just shows a bunch of different bits of driving information, like your current speed, what drive line you're in, and then your kind of like angle with the steering wheel. If you turn the steering wheel, it actually changes that, which I think that's pretty cool, kind of like a bunch of off-roading stuff. But anyways, there's your visibility through both of the mirrors, and then here's all throughout the rest of the rear, which, I mean, it's got a bunch of big windows, but then also the seats get in the way, so it's nice that this has the blind spot monitoring. And let's set off. Well, we are setting off here in this Yukon with the diesel engine, and this is pretty interesting. This is something that you really don't see all that much in the segment. You've seen a couple truck manufacturers, Chevy, Ram, and then Ford release these little diesels in their trucks, but releasing them in their SUVs hasn't really been a thing, and so it's definitely interesting to see this happen. But initially setting off, torque is definitely really good with the diesel engine. Sounds a lot different than the 6.2 V8, that's for sure. But we're gonna get our acceleration up here in just a moment and see how this diesel performs here with the Yukon. That's good. Definitely a different driving experience compared to the 6.2. So the 6.2 has way more horsepower. Your 277 in this, the 6.2's got 420 horsepower. So a substantial difference, but the torque is the same between the two engines. And so you kind of drive these a little bit different because of that. So this, you just ride on the torque, so you're kind of like partial throttle driving all the time. You're not like pedal to the metal like in the 6.2. And so again, it just kind of lends to a different driving experience, which it's not a bad thing, it's just different. And obviously you'll get better fuel economy with this because of the smaller engine and the setup that this has. But for the Yukon itself, in terms of how this drives, it's really nice in this Denali package. It's very smooth on the road, and there's not a whole lot of wind noise. We're right by an interstate. I can't really hear the interstate from inside the cabin, so noise insulation is really solid on this. Definitely fits the bill for a luxury vehicle, and that'll get me into some of the things up here with this Yukon. So from an exterior aesthetics perspective, I think the regular Yukon looks better than the XL proportion-wise. And then from an interior perspective, I feel like this has really nice interior. It's got all the nice luxury amenities. The tech is great. The camera system is great. Everything just basically clicks every single box here on the interior. And then as for the engine, should you get this with a diesel engine? That's the big question for today's video. It really depends. If you're worried about fuel economy, then the diesel engine is going to get you better fuel economy. If you're worried about power, well, then the 6.2 is going to have more power. So it depends on what your needs are. From a towing perspective, even though the towing capacities are very similar between both of the engines, this having a lot less power is not going to be able to perform as well as the 6.2. So again, the towing capacities are very similar, but how this actually tows the load is going to be significantly different compared to how the 6.2 does it. And so I would take that into account as well with the vehicles with the towing perspective, if you are going to be towing with it. But if you're not going to be towing, you want better fuel economy and you just want something a little bit different, then that's where the diesel really shines. And now that is going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 GMC Yukon Denali with the Duramax engine. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to National GMC for giving me some time with this Yukon. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in the next video.